Welcome to this week's Resistance Download. The title is Weakness. I don't know about you, but I think the truth is that all of us have weaknesses. We don't like to talk about our weaknesses. We actually usually like to talk a lot about our strengths, things we're good at, things that we're very capable of doing, things we like to show people that we're able to do. And we talk a lot about those things because when we talk about our weaknesses, we don't feel very important, we don't feel very strong, we feel vulnerable. And the truth is though, weakness sometimes as a Christ follower is really a strength. And it's hard for us to recognize that or understand that until we come face to face with scripture like the one I'm going to read to you guys today. It's found in 2 Corinthians, and Paul is writing to the Corinthian church, and he makes an interesting statement. He's talking about all the incredible things he's experienced and the visions God showed him, and he's essentially having to explain to the Corinthian church that he is a legitimate communicator of the good news of Jesus, even though they have other people that are boasting and bragging about the fact that they're more qualified. And Paul basically has to show them that, hey, it's not about what you're boasting, it's not about how proud you are, it's about how much you're relying on the truth and the power and the strength of Christ. So he says these words in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 7. So to keep me from being too elated by the surpassing greatness of revelations, a thorn was given me in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to harass me, to keep me from being too elated. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord about this, that it should leave me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. My grace is sufficient for you, because my power is made perfect in weakness, the words of Christ. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ then, I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Kind of a crazy verse, and the reason I'm wearing my glasses today is because I know for me an area that I consider a weakness is my vision. I'm actually legally blind without my glasses. I've got negative 7.75 vision in both my eyes, and without these I literally can't see anything. Right now the camera that I'm supposed to be looking at is a big fuzz, and for me it was always a sign of weakness because when I played sports or did anything else I had to have contacts and everything had to be just right, and I didn't see as well at night as other people did, and it was always a frustration for me. And then as I read through scriptures like this and I began to realize that my weaknesses aren't a sign of the fact that I'm weak and useless, they're a sign of my need and of dependence upon God. That the reason I have these weaknesses is because they remind me of the truth that I need to lean into, and my sufficiency, my strength, doesn't come from myself, it has to come from my Creator. And the truth is I want to challenge you this week that don't look at your weaknesses as failures. Look at your weaknesses as an opportunity to allow God to be your strength, to lean on God, to trust in God, to believe that God is going to provide for you, and even in spite of your weaknesses, that He's going to use your life to make a difference for His kingdom. Now that doesn't give us excuse to live however we want to and sin and make foolish mistakes. It's just saying that in areas that we're weak, we need to really rely on God if we're going to be strong, if we're going to be successful, if we're going to make a difference for His kingdom. We can't look at our weaknesses as just something that we're going to make ourselves improve on. We need to lean into God and allow Him to begin to work in our lives and help us to become who He's called us to be. So I want to encourage you this week, evaluate some of your weaknesses and begin to give them over to God and begin to ask God, what does He want you to do with those weaknesses? How could those weaknesses be turned into strengths for the kingdom of God? How could you learn to be vulnerable with them and use them as opportunities for ministry and for missions to make a difference for Him and to impact the lives of those that are far from God around you and those that are followers of Christ that He's called you to mentor and to invest in? I love you and believe in you. I hope that your weakness will turn into a strength through God. Amen.